The weight of the homemade pumpkin pie steadies my hands as I stand at the threshold of my parents' elegant suburban home. Through the leaded glass panels flanking the front door, I glimpse a kaleidoscope of movement, 24 relatives, mingling beneath the glow of my mother's prized crystal chandelier. For a moment, I consider turning around, driving back to my apartment, and spending Thanksgiving with a frozen dinner and mindless television. But then my father spots me through the glass. There she is. His voice booms as he swings open the door. Our number cruncher has arrived. I force a smile and step inside, the aroma of sage and roasted turkey enveloping me. My simple dress, a modest knee length in deep teal, suddenly feels inadequate amid the festive glitter of my mother's home. "Oh, you brought dessert," Mom says, accepting the pie with a perfunctory kiss to my cheek. Her eyes darted past me toward the driveway. "Is that all you brought?" "Just me and the pie," I answer, trying to keep my voice light. "Made from scratch." Dad pats my shoulder. "Skyla works with numbers. Very stable job. Always punctual." The compliment lands like a backhanded slap. Always punctual. Always reliable. Always boring. I've heard variations of this my entire life. Mom's phone chimes, and her face brightens. "That's your sister. She's running a little late." 30 minutes and counting, I murmur, but no one notices my comment as I'm shuffled toward the living room, where relatives cluster with drinks and appetizers. Uncle Warren raises his glass. The accountant arrives. "How's life balancing those books, Skyla?" "I'm an internal auditor, actually," I correct, accepting a flute of champagne from a passing tray. "And business is." The sudden hush falls over the room like a heavy curtain. Conversations halt mid-sentence. Heads turn toward the entryway. My sister has arrived. Marissa glides in, 30 minutes late, and looking like she stepped from a magazine cover. Her camel Max Mara coat, which I recognize from last month's Vogue, drapes perfectly over her shoulders. The Prada handbag dangling from her wrist probably cost more than my monthly rent. "Sorry I'm late," she announces, not sounding sorry at all. The traffic was absolutely brutal. Mom rushes forward, beaming with the kind of pride she never shows when introducing me. "You look stunning, sweetheart." She strokes the sleeve of Marissa's coat. "Is this new?" Marissa preens. "Just picked it up last weekend," the color called to me. "You work so hard," Mom gushes. "You deserve to treat yourself." I swallow hard and drain my champagne glass in one gulp. The irony burns worse than the bubbles. Marissa hasn't held a steady job in 3 years, bouncing between consulting gigs that somehow never last but always come with impressive-sounding titles. Dinner is called before I can escape for a refill. I find myself seated between Cousin Lauren and Uncle Warren's new girlfriend, whose name I've already forgotten. Across from me, Marissa holds court, regaling the table with stories of her latest business venture, involving social media and luxury brands. "Skyla," Lauren turns to me during a lull, her voice lowered. "I've been meaning to ask you something about my student loans. The interest is killing me, and I wondered if you might have some advice about restructuring." I lean in, genuinely pleased to be useful. "Actually, there's a program I just read about that could help. If your income is below a certain threshold." "Not everyone wants to hear about math at dinner, dear," Mom interrupts from 3 seats away, her hearing suddenly selective and sharp. She smiles at Lauren. "Why don't you ask Marissa? She's great with money." The table grows quiet. I stare at my plate, fork suspended over untouched turkey. Marissa's laugh tinkles like ice in a crystal glass. "Oh, Skyla's always crunching numbers," she says, swirling her wine. "And always short on cash, it seems." My cheeks burn. I manage my money just fine. "Do you?" Marissa arches one perfect eyebrow. "Then why are you always asking for loans?" The dining room temperature plummets 10 degrees. 23 pairs of eyes swing between us like spectators at a tennis match. "I've never asked you for money," I say, my voice steady despite the roaring in my ears. "Not once. Not once." "Please," Marissa rolls her eyes dramatically. "You should stop begging for money. It's embarrassing." The words slam into me like a physical blow. My ears ring with the audacity of her lie, a complete inversion of our reality. No one speaks. No one defends me. Not even our parents, who know exactly which direction the money flows. Speaking of embarrassing, Dad cuts in with forced joviality. "Did anyone catch the Seahawks game last Sunday? That fourth quarter was something else." Just like that, conversation lurches forward, leaving my humiliation behind like roadkill no one wants to acknowledge. I sit frozen, transported back to when I was 10 years old, emptying my piggy bank to help buy Marissa a dance costume. Your sister needs it more than you do, Mom had said, patting my head. She has the recital coming up. You're the practical one, Skyla. The practical one. The responsible one. The one expected to sacrifice. I excuse myself when dessert is served, slipping away to the powder room. My hands tremble as I lock the door behind me, but my mind has never been clearer. I pull out my phone and open my banking app, staring at the 5 recurring payments to various accounts with Marissa's name attached. 5 years. $52,800. An average of $880 every month. Car insurance. Credit card minimums. Personal loan payments. The evidence of my sister's financial vampirism glows on my screen in neat, organized rows exactly as an auditor would keep them. Without hesitation, I select each payment and cancel them all. One by one, confirmation messages appear. Recurring payment canceled. 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 I splash cold water on my face, blot it dry with one of Mom's decorative guest towels, and return to the dining room. My pumpkin pie sits in the center of the table, slices missing from its perfect crust. There you are, Mom says. We started without you. That's fine. I slide back into my seat, a strange calmness washing over me. I'm not really hungry for dessert anyway. My phone vibrates in my pocket. Confirmation notices from my bank. The cancellations are complete. More coffee, Skyla? Dad offers pot in hand. I smile and extend my cup. Yes, I think I'll have a second helping. For the first time in 5 years, I will not be paying for my sister's life tonight. For the first time in forever, I am choosing myself, and it feels like the first breath after nearly drowning. Numbers don't lie. People do. The next day, the morning light filters through the blinds of my modest one-bedroom apartment as I open my laptop at the small desk wedged between the kitchen and living room. The coffee maker gurgles in the background, its familiar rhythm steadying my hands as I create a new spreadsheet. Payment history. Marissa Cole. I type in the header, my fingers moving with the precision that makes me valuable at work. Each keystroke feels like reclaiming a piece of myself. I pull up my banking records, methodically copying every payment made to my sister over the past 5 years. The spreadsheet grows row by row, an archaeological dig through my financial sacrifices. 3 separate credit card payments each month. The personal loan that was supposed to be, just until her commission comes through, car insurance for the luxury SUV she absolutely needed for client meetings that never materialized. The total appears at the bottom of the column, $52,800. The number sits there, accusing me not of generosity but of gullibility. Nearly $900 every month, more than my own car payment, funneled silently to maintain Marissa's carefully constructed facade. I save the document to 3 separate cloud locations. Evidence secured, I allow myself another sip of coffee. My phone vibrates again. The screen lights up with Marissa's name for the 16th time since dawn. I silence it without reading the message, but the notifications keep appearing. Something's wrong with the payments. Call me now. Did you change banks? Payment failed. What did you do? The credit card company called. Fix this. Autopay declined. Call me back. Insufficient funds? What's happening? The messages escalate from confusion to panic to rage, punctuation multiplying with her desperation. 15 calls. Over 30 messages in just 24 hours. I place my phone screen down and continue working. By mid-afternoon, the inevitable happens. My mother's name appears on the screen. I answer on the 3rd ring. Skyla? What's going on? Marissa says you're refusing to help her with something. Her voice carries that familiar note of disappointment, as though I'm 10 years old again, selfishly keeping my birthday money, instead of sharing. I've been paying her bills for 5 years, Mom. My voice sounds different, steadier than it's ever been when speaking to my mother. She told everyone yesterday at Thanksgiving that I begged her for money, so I stopped. A sharp intake of breath. That's not what she meant. You know how Marissa gets when she's nervous. She exaggerates. It wasn't an exaggeration. It was a lie. And everyone believed her. You're being dramatic. Family helps family. I helped for 5 years. That's $52,800 of my money. A long pause, then rustling as the phone changes hands. Skyla, it's Dad. His voice sounds older suddenly. What's this about money? Your sister says you've cut her off without warning. Did she tell you why she needs my money every month? She's been having cash flow problems with her business. You know that. Dad, she doesn't have a business. She hasn't had steady work in 3 years. Another long silence. You've changed, he finally says. You used to be kind. The words strike deeper than expected, but clarity rises to meet the pain. I haven't changed, I reply. I just stopped letting people use my kindness as their safety net. The shocked silence that follows tells me they've never considered our family dynamic from this angle. The call ends awkwardly, with promises to talk about this later that we all know means, hope you come to your senses. I've barely set down my phone when it rings again. Lauren. Hey, just checking in. You left Thanksgiving so suddenly. Her voice trails off, fishing for information. It was a difficult evening. I offer carefully. Marissa's been messaging everyone about money problems. Something about you backing out of a loan? A bitter laugh escapes before I can catch it. I didn't back out of a loan. I stopped making her monthly payments after 5 years of paying her bills. Wait, you've been paying her bills? But she has that huge house in Bellevue. The surprise in Lauren's voice confirms what I suspected. No one knew. For years, Marissa had maintained her image of success while secretly draining my accounts. How much are we talking about? Lauren asks. $52,800. Holy shit, Skyla. She pauses. No wonder you always turn down family trips. A lump forms in my throat. All those years of excuses about work commitments, saving for a house, needing to be available for emergencies when the truth was simpler and more painful. I couldn't afford both Marissa's lifestyle and my own existence in the same frame. After Lauren hangs up, promising discretion I know she won't maintain, my phone pings with a text from cousin Michael. About time someone stood up to the golden child. The truth is spreading through the family now, reframing 5 years of gatherings where Marissa arrived in designer clothes while I wore the same black dress with different accessories. Where she brought expensive wines while I baked from scratch because it was cheaper. Where she talked about exclusive resorts while I quietly mentioned staycations. I closed the spreadsheet and shut my laptop. The documentation is complete. The payments are canceled. The truth is loose in the wild. For the first time in 5 years, all $880 of my monthly Marissa payment will stay in my own account. The thought doesn't bring the satisfaction I expected, just a hollow kind of relief. Like removing a splinter that's been in so long you've built your movements around avoiding the pain. I glance at my phone, where the notification count has climbed to 43. Tomorrow will bring more calls, more guilt, more pressure. But tonight, the numbers are clear. And numbers, unlike sisters, don't lie. The family group chat notification lights up my phone at 6:47 a.m. the next morning. I squint at the screen, still warm under my comforter, and immediately wish I hadn't looked. Please keep Skyla in your prayers during this difficult time. Marissa's message reads, mental health struggles can manifest in many ways, including financial jealousy and irrational behavior. I stare at the ceiling, counting the gentle popcorn ridges to keep from hurling my phone across the room. Within seconds, responses flood in. Oh no, what happened? Sending love, Skyla. We're here for you. Should we organize a care package? Nobody asks what prompted this announcement. Nobody questions its validity. My sister's word is gospel, and I am suddenly cast as the unstable family member having a breakdown. My mother calls within minutes. Skyla Marie Thompson. Her voice carries that particular tone reserved for grave disappointments. You need to fix this before Thanksgiving is completely ruined. Fix what, exactly? I ask, sliding my feet into slippers, padding toward my kitchen to start coffee. Don't play dumb. Marissa is devastated. Your father can barely look at the phone when she texts about you. She pauses. We raised you better than this. The coffee maker gurgles as I measure grounds with practiced precision. Did you ask Marissa exactly what I've done? She showed me the bank notifications. All those payments suddenly canceled. Mother's voice drops to an accusatory whisper. She has bills, Skyla. Responsibilities. Roos. So do I. The words emerge stronger than I intended. This isn't like you, she continues. The daughter I raised would never abandon her sister. I watch coffee drip steadily into the pot, black and clarifying. The daughter you raised has been paying Marissa's bills for 5 years while she told everyone I begged her for money. Silence stretches between us, taut as a wire. I'm going to be late for work, I interrupt. An unprecedented act of rebellion. Give Dad my love. I end the call before she can respond and open Facebook to find Marissa's latest performance. A tastefully filtered photo of her staring pensively out a window, captioned, "Heartbroken when family members struggle with jealousy. Praying for healing during this difficult time." 27 sympathetic comments already. I close the app without responding and finish getting ready for work. When I arrive at the office, something unexpected happens. I work better than I have in months. Client documentation flows through my review process with unusual efficiency. Spreadsheets that normally require double-checking seem crystal clear on first pass. "You seem more focused lately," my manager comments during our afternoon check-in. "Whatever you're doing, keep it up." What I'm doing is keeping an extra $880 a month in my bank account and sleeping through the night for the first time in years. That evening, I purchased a new desk for my home office, a solid oak piece I've been eyeing for months, but could never justify while supporting Marissa's lifestyle. As I enter my credit card information, I experience none of the usual anxiety about spending on myself. No mental calculations about how this purchase might affect my ability to cover Marissa's car insurance payment or minimum credit card payments. I realize I've been living below my means, not from frugality or wise financial planning, but to fund my sister's excess. The revelation settles in my stomach like a stone. The true test of my newfound resolve arrives 3 days later when Marissa appears unannounced in my office building lobby. I spot her through the glass doors as I return from lunch, designer sunglasses perched above perfect makeup, strategically disheveled hair, and what appears to be a carefully selected outfit that somehow communicates both wealthy casualness and distress. "How could you abandon me like this?" she demands loudly the moment I approach, tears streaming down her cheeks without disturbing her mascara. "After everything I've done for you." Heads turn throughout the lobby. My coworkers slow their pace, pretending not to eavesdrop while clearly absorbing every word. I keep my voice measured and low. "This isn't the place to discuss your financial problems, Marissa." "Financial problems?" She laughs, the sound high and brittle. "You're the one who's always needed my help, and now when I need you just temporarily, you cut me off completely?" A security guard glances our way, concerned by the rising volume. "Call me when you're ready to talk about repayment plans," I say quietly. "Repayment?" The word hangs between us like a grenade with its pin removed. Her tears vanish instantly. The transformation would be impressive if I hadn't seen it countless times before, the immediate shift from wounded victim to cold calculation when manipulation fails. "This isn't over," she hisses, voice suddenly steady. She turns sharply, stiletto heels clicking against marble, as she exits through revolving doors. I watch her go, feeling oddly calm in the aftermath of what should have been a devastating confrontation. Saturday brings unexpected support. Lauren arrives at my apartment door bearing lunch from my favorite deli and a sympathetic smile. "You okay?" she asks, unpacking sandwiches and containers of soup at my small dining table. Everyone's talking about what happened. "What version are they discussing?" I ask, pulling plates from my cabinet. Lauren shakes her head. "The real story is getting out. Michael called me after talking to your dad. Is it true Marissa owes you over $50,000? $52,800, I confirm. But her total debt is closer to $96,000, as far as I can tell." Lauren's sandwich halts midway to her mouth. $96,000? How is that possible? They live in that beautiful house in Bellevue. "Mortgage to the limit?" I reply. "Plus 3 maxed credit cards, 2 personal loans, and the car lease that's 3 months behind. I've been covering the minimum payments for years." "She was using you this whole time." Lauren's voice turns hard with anger, all while acting like the successful one. My phone buzzes with a notification. The younger cousins have created a new group chat named Team Skyla, without Marissa or my parents included. I'm still absorbing this development when my phone rings with an unfamiliar number. I almost decline until Lauren glances at the screen. "That's Evan's cell," she says, eyes widening. "Marissa's husband." I accept the call, putting it on speaker. "Skyla?" Evan's voice sounds strained. "We need to talk." "I'm listening," I say. "I had no idea about any of this," he begins. "She hid everything. The payments, the debt, all of it. All of it." The raw honesty in his voice catches me off guard. "Thank you for helping her quietly all these years," he continues. "I thought we were stable, but we've been living beyond our means to keep up appearances with the neighbors. I meet Lauren's astonished gaze across the table. We're not as financially secure as everyone believes, Evan confesses. Not even close. A strange weightlessness settles over me. For years I believed I was the only one who saw Marissa clearly. Now others are beginning to glimpse behind the curtain. I hope you can help her find better ways to cope, I say finally. Lauren squeezes my hand across the table as the call ends. For the first time in years, I'm not alone in my understanding of Marissa. And for the first time in my life, I'm not expected to be the one who fixes everything. That night, the knock at my apartment door comes at 11:42 p.m., 3 thunderous blows that rattle the hinges. I know who it is before I even peer through the peephole. Marissa stands in the harsh hallway light, arms wrapped around herself. Her hair hangs limp around her face, not a trace of makeup visible. She wears faded jeans and a plain cotton t-shirt, clothes I've never seen on her before. I open the door but block the entrance with my body. It's nearly midnight. Please, she whispers, her voice cracking. I'm falling apart, Sky. Evan knows everything. For a moment, I see the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, seeking comfort from her practical sister, who was never afraid of the noise. But then I remember the Thanksgiving table, her voice dripping with false concern. You should stop begging for money, it's embarrassing. Still, I step aside. Come in. She rushes past me, pacing my living room like a caged animal. The credit card companies keep calling. I've blocked 8 different numbers, but they just use new ones. And the BMW, her voice catches. They're repossessing it next week. I offer her water in a plain glass tumbler. She eyes it briefly, clearly hoping for wine. Mom and Dad are heartbroken. She continues, accepting the water but not drinking it. You're tearing the family apart with this vendetta. I sit on my couch, watching her theatrics with newfound clarity. If I lose everything, it's on you, she says, her voice hardening. Is that what you want? To see me fail? I wait until her monologue runs out of steam, until the dramatic pauses designed to prompt my reassurances grow uncomfortable. When she finally falls silent, I speak. I've helped you for 5 years, Marissa. She sniffs, nodding eagerly. And I'm so grateful. That's why I don't understand why you'd stop now, when I need you most. I let a calculated pause stretch between us. That's $52,800, I say evenly. I have records of every payment. Her face shifts from vulnerable pleading to defensive anger in an instant. It wasn't that much. You're exaggerating to make me look bad. Without a word, I open my laptop on the coffee table between us. The screen illuminates with a spreadsheet, each row a payment, each column a category. Dates, amounts, account numbers. Notes documenting her calls, her excuses, her promises to pay me back next month for sure this time. 5 years of financial hemorrhaging, meticulously documented in the language I know best, numbers that don't lie. This is, she stumbles over her words. You're doing this to make yourself look better. You always need to be the perfect one. When I don't respond, she switches tactics. You know I have expenses you don't. The country club fees alone. She stops herself, realizing how this sounds. You make so much more than me, she tries instead, voice rising. You don't understand what it's like to struggle. I make $185,000 a year, I say quietly. Her eyes widen slightly. She'd clearly assumed much less. I live in this 1-bedroom apartment so I could afford to pay your bills. The silence that follows feels like the first honest moment we've shared in years. Her mouth opens and closes, searching for another angle. But we're sisters, she finally says, her voice small. Family helps family. I stand and walk to the door, opening it once more. You had 5 years, Marissa. I paid $52,000 of your debt. That's enough. She gathers her purse, shoulders stiff with indignation. At the threshold, she turns, eyes narrowed. You're heartless, she hisses. You'll regret this. No, I meet her gaze steadily. You should regret confusing someone's compassion with obligation. The door closes between us with a soft click. 2 hours later, my mother called. I can hear the tension in her voice, the effort to maintain composure. Marissa says you refuse to help. She's going through so much right now. Did she tell you how much I've already helped her? I ask. She mentioned some small loans, mom hedges. $52,000 over 5 years isn't small, Mom. Her sharp intake of breath tells me more than words could. Dad's voice suddenly replaces hers. 52,000? That can't be right. I can email you the documentation. I say, my finger already hovering over the send button on an email prepared days ago. Why would you keep giving her money all this time if she wasn't? Being honest, I finished for him. Because she's family. And you taught me that family helps family no matter what. The stunned silence on the other end feels like vindication and heartbreak simultaneously. Later that night, texts begin appearing on my phone. Uncle Warren, your sister is devastated. Where's your compassion? Aunt Patricia, the family forgives. Period. This cold shoulder is beneath you. But there are others. Cousin Michael, about damn time someone stood up to her. Call if you need to talk. Lauren, just heard the real story. We're all behind you. Mom and Dad too. My phone pings with a notification from our extended family group chat. I brace myself for another barrage of guilt and pressure, but instead find an unexpected message from Evan. Thank you all for your concern. Marissa and I are working through some financial difficulties that have come to light. We ask for your understanding during this time. And Skyla, thank you for your past support. It wasn't acknowledged properly. The traditional family hierarchy with Marissa at its glowing center and me orbiting as the reliable, practical moon has begun to fracture. Thanksgiving dinner has become the dividing line in our family history. Before the truth and after. My father calls back, his voice subdued. I've been looking at these statements you sent. All these years you've been. He trails off, unable to complete the thought that his golden child has been lying while his practical one has been sacrificing. We should talk. He finally says. All of us. Maybe Sunday dinner? Not yet, I answer, surprising myself with the boundary. I need some time. Of course, he says quickly, too quickly. Whatever you need. The words sound strange coming from him from anyone in my family, really. Whatever I need has never been the priority before. I curl up on my couch, wrapped in the quilt my grandmother made, the one Marissa always said was too old-fashioned for her taste. My apartment feels different tonight, not larger or more luxurious, but somehow more mine. For the first time in 5 years, the weight of secrecy and obligation has lifted. The money that funded Marissa's carefully curated life will now fund my authentic one. On my coffee table, the spreadsheet still glows on my laptop screen. 5 years of payments, each one a brick in the wall between who I was and who I'm becoming. I close the laptop, and the room falls into darkness except for the gentle city light filtering through my blinds. Tomorrow will bring more calls, more family members taking sides, more pressure to return to my familiar role. But tonight, in the quiet aftermath of finally speaking my truth, I find something unexpected. Peace. The text on Evan's message glows ominously on my phone screen a week later. Family meeting. Our house. Tomorrow at 2. Just parents, you, and a few others. This needs to end. I stare at the words for a full minute, my stomach tightening. In the week since I confronted Marissa in my apartment, the family has fractured into opposing camps. Mother still calls daily with tearful pleas. Father has retreated into uncharacteristic silence. Cousins message their support or condemnation depending on which version of events they believe. What surprises me is Evan's sudden involvement. In 6 years of marriage to my sister, he's always remained pleasantly detached from family drama. When I arrive at their home, notably smaller than what Mother had led everyone to believe, Evan opens the door before I knock. His normally easygoing expression is replaced by something harder, more determined. Thank you for coming, he says, voice low. This won't be easy. The living room feels like a courtroom awaiting trial. Mother and father sit stiffly on matching armchairs. Uncle Warren occupies one end of the sofa beside Aunt Patricia and grandmother, whose presence signals the gravity of the situation. Marissa is nowhere in sight. Where's I begin? She'll join us shortly. Evan interrupts, gesturing toward the empty chair, clearly positioned as the focal point. Please, sit. I choose the corner of the sofa instead, maintaining distance from the emotional blast zone. The air feels charged with unspoken accusations. Mother attempts a weak smile. This is unnecessary. Family disagreements should stay private. Not this one, Evan says, his voice firm as he places a thick manila folder on the coffee table. Not anymore. The sound of a door closing echoes from the hallway. Marissa enters, her face stripped of makeup, wearing plain jeans and a beige sweater I've never seen before. No designer labels, no statement jewelry. Her eyes are red-rimmed but dry. "Sit down, Marissa," Evan says without looking at her. She perches on the edge of the empty chair, hands folded tightly in her lap. Evan stands before us, shoulders squared. "I've asked you here because it's time everyone understood exactly what's been happening." He opens the folder. Over the past years, Marissa has accumulated personal debt totaling $96,500. Mother gasps. Father's head snaps up. That includes the $52,800 that Skyla has been paying in secret for 5 years. Evan continues. "The money that Marissa told me came from a trust fund from grandmother." Grandmother's sharp intake of breath cuts through the room. "I never set up any such thing." "I know that now." Evan spreads credit card statements across the table. These show regular purchases from Nordstrom, Saks, Neiman Marcus, designer clothes, jewelry, handbags. Things to maintain the appearance of success while we were quietly drowning. Father leans forward, studying the papers with growing disbelief. "This doesn't sound like the daughter we raised." "I needed those things," Marissa whispers. "Everyone expected me to be successful." Mother reaches toward her. "Sweetheart, is this all true?" The question hangs in the air, the first time in 30 years I've heard Mother question Marissa's version of events. Marissa's careful composure crumbles. Tears spill down her cheeks. "I just wanted everyone to be proud of me." "By lying? By stealing from your sister?" Aunt Patricia's voice cuts like a blade. "I was going to pay her back," Marissa protests weakly. "When?" Evan asks. "With what money? You haven't held a steady job in 3 years." The silence that follows feels like a physical weight. I watch my family absorb the reality they've been denying for years. Evan straightens. "Things will change starting today. We're selling the Range Rover, the Maldives vacation is canceled. Marissa starts working 40 hours weekly at Belinda's boutique next Monday, and we begin financial counseling on Thursday." Mother's face pales. "But that's so extreme." "It's necessary," Evan replies. "And long overdue." Father turns to me, his eyes clouded with something I've rarely seen: genuine regret. "We should have seen it sooner." His voice drops to a near whisper. "I'm sorry, Skyla." The words I've waited decades to hear land softly, without the satisfaction I'd imagined. I nod once, accepting but not absolved. For the first time in my memory, I sit in a family crisis without being expected to fix it. I am neither savior nor villain, simply present. The strange liberation of this moment catches in my throat. The next 6 months unfold in careful, measured steps. Family gossip shifts as the full story emerges. Marissa works retail after years of leisure, returning home with aching feet and humbled eyes. Evan oversees their finances with spreadsheets that echo my own meticulous records. When Mother calls now, her voice carries a new hesitancy, as though she's learning to navigate unfamiliar terrain. Father asks about my investment strategies, listening with genuine interest. One Thursday morning in May, my phone pings with a banking notification. Deposit, $600. A text message follows. "It'll take years, but I'll pay you back. M." I stare at the screen, remembering the Thanksgiving table where she publicly accused me of begging, the powder room where I finally found my boundaries. The spreadsheet documents 5 years of silent sacrifice. My fingers hover over the keyboard, a dozen responses form and dissolve in my mind. In the end, I type just 2 words. Received, thank you. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But perhaps a door left slightly open in a wall I had every right to build. The weight of the pumpkin-scented candle steadies my hands as I stand at the threshold of Evan and Marissa's downsized Tudor-style home. Through the leaded glass panels flanking the front door, I glimpse modest Thanksgiving decorations, a far cry from the opulent displays at our parents' home last year. For a moment, I consider turning around, driving back to my apartment, and spending the holiday alone with a good book. But then I spot my father through the glass, and our eyes meet. 1 year has transformed more than just my living space. My apartment now boasts a plush sectional couch in rich burgundy, replacing the threadbare hand-me-down I'd tolerated for years. My home office gleams with a proper desk instead of the wobbly card table where I'd managed my finances and Marissa's for half a decade. The $880 monthly payment that once disappeared into my sister's bottomless needs now flows into an investment account showing 12% growth. Dad opens the door before I can knock. There she is, he says, but his voice lacks the booming quality I remember from childhood. Instead, there's something I've never heard before: respect. Happy Thanksgiving. I step inside, breathing in the aroma of roasting turkey. My simple dress, a knee-length in deep forest green, feels perfectly adequate for this gathering. Oh, you're right on time, Mom says, kissing my cheek without the usual perfunctory feel. Marissa's just about to serve. The dining room table, set simply with white plates and cloth napkins, hosts only 8 place settings instead of last year's 24. No crystal chandelier hangs overhead, just a modest pendant light, illuminating faces I now recognize as family rather than audience. Marissa emerges from the kitchen wearing jeans and a cream-colored sweater. No designer labels visible, no statement jewelry catching the light. Her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She carries a platter of sliced turkey with steady hands. Everything looks wonderful, I say, meaning it. Marissa's smile contains something new: humility. Thanks for coming. When everyone is seated, Evan suggests a toast. All eyes turn to him, but he nods to Marissa, who rises slowly. She lifts her water glass. To a family who tells us the truth, even when it hurts. My throat tightens unexpectedly. I raise my glass in acknowledgement, not yet ready for complete reconciliation, but accepting this honest new beginning. Throughout dinner, conversation flows without the usual facades. Uncle Warren discusses his recent heart surgery without minimizing its impact. Lauren shares her promotion without downplaying its importance. Parents admit their struggles with retirement planning without pretending everything is perfect. No one performs, no one competes. We simply exist together in truth. Later, back in my apartment, I open my laptop out of habit, but I no longer check the spreadsheet daily. 12 payments have arrived consistently from Marissa, each exactly on time. I scroll through my phone, deleting old pleading messages from her that I'd saved as evidence. They're no longer necessary armor against gaslighting. The truth has emerged and settled like dust after a storm. Opening my journal, I write, $52,800. If she were a stranger, I would have stopped years ago. But she was my sister. Or at least, I thought she was. I pause, considering what has changed. The monthly deposits from Marissa aren't just financial restitution. They're acknowledgement that my boundaries matter, that my sacrifice deserves recognition. My worth was never tied to family approval, though it took me 30 years to understand this. Boundaries aren't cruelty, but self-respect. I close the journal, feeling neither triumph nor regret. Just clarity. Sometimes kindness means knowing when to stop. You can't save someone who keeps sinking, especially when they're the ones pulling you under. The question remains, hanging in the evening air of my quiet apartment, if faced with the same situation, what would you have done? Cut them off like I did? Give one more chance because they're family? Take legal action to recover what was lost? Where do you draw the line between helping and being used?